Hello and welcome to the Hill and Ponton video blog on veterans. My name is Matthew Hill and this is my partner, Carol Ponton. We want to talk to you today about the backlog in appeals. Most of you have probably read and heard about the backlog the VA has been addressing for the last 6 months or so, but that backlog is specific to new claims. So if you've had a claim and you've been denied and you file a notice of disagreement, that claim is not one that they've been looking into. The backlog we're seeing in appeals is a backlog where once the veteran files the NOD, it's taking the VA anywhere from 2 to 4 years to decide the case. And that's from the date of the NOD, not from the date they filed their first claim.
All right, that's from the date, and a lot of times veterans are confused because it's from the date that, not the date they got the rating decision, but the date they filed the notice of disagreement to that rating decision. And I have been calling a number of the offices and asking them, saying, this case is 3 years old, why don't we have a decision? And they said, well, we're still working on notices of disagreement from 2010. Now there are some exceptions. Some of the decision review officers are into 2011, some a little beyond that, but the bulk of them are working on notices of disagreement for 2010.
And this is a problem that stems from what the VA's done the last several years. 4 years ago now, the VA passed new regulation on the NEMR cases, as they call them, but what we all know of as the Agent Orange cases. And in those cases, the VA started granting new conditions like Parkinson's and ischemic heart disease. And what they did is they took all of their decision review officers off their appeal teams and put them on those cases. And then once they did that, they had the backlog started.
And that was like well over a year and a half, I think, that they did that.
And then after that, they took those same individuals when they started talking about this backlog with initial claims and put them on those. So the backlog has been growing. Now we've been told that this is the year of appeals by the VA, meaning
Yes.
they're going to focus on appeals. They've been talking to Congress about what they're going to do with it. But this is not going to be an easy fix, and it's going to take some time. But as Carol was saying, there are certain times when you can
One
speed
of the
up.
reasons I want to make sure you know that it's why it's going to take time is, as one of the decision review officers told me, they're taking me off my desk and making me work on new claims now that I finished working on NEMR. But when they find out the appeals are far behind, who's going to help me? Because you have to be really trained to do the appeals. And so they have no help. And that's one of the reasons that's another reason. Matt didn't mention the government shutdowns, but the government shutdowns didn't help at all because they would be out 2, 3, 4 weeks of the various shutdowns and nothing was done. Because they're so far behind and so many veterans are really in need of these benefits, they have set a very strict criteria as to what cases they will pull out of line and do out of order. And they call these the dire financial situations. If a veteran is homeless, that qualifies. If you are foreclosed and about to be homeless, sometimes we can get them to act on that. If a veteran is dying or if a veteran is suicidal, those are the only areas that I've seen where they've actually moved the cases. Now,
But there's a catch.
there's a catch.
The VA doesn't take your word for any of those situations. No. Dying, being kicked out of your house, getting the electricity turned off.
You have to prove it. So we have to put in the medical records, we have to have the foreclosure notices, whatever proves your situation. And I might add, then they move at the same glacial rate that they usually do, but at least they're addressing your case. So we urge all of our veterans, if they qualify, I hope they don't, but when they do, to let us know that so that we can at least get those cases moved.
But for your cases, it's important to keep that in mind. If you see a foreclosure coming, meaning you're not able to pay your bills anymore, you're not able to pay your mortgage, it's something to keep in mind. And remember, you need to get documentation of that and then just start sending it into the VA saying, this is my situation, I'm behind in my bills, I'm about to lose my house. Because as it stands right now, there's no quick fix, and frankly, you're going to be just waiting in line until your decision happens anywhere from 2 to 4 years later.
And as Matt said, there are some, we hope possibilities that might come to pass. The VA has said they're going to work on this. One of the things they've suggested is, well, if a veteran only has one real appeal, one issue, maybe we'll put them in a different line and try to expedite them as opposed to veterans who have many issues. They haven't done any of that yet. But if they do, you know,
That's something to think about.
That's something to think about.
Narrowing down your cases to the one real issue that that you really want service connected. Well, thank you for listening. Again, this is the Hill and Ponton video blog with Carol Ponton and Matthew Hill, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.